Yeah, don't you mess with my Jesus. You know, to explain to you guys, every God, all we have is Jesus. All we have is Jesus, and we don't want to fuck you go through it again. We don't want to fuck you go through it again. One last time, we don't want to fuck you go through it again. They already talked about Jesus taking a shit when he was on earth, and we don't want to fuck you put up with it. I understand that Jesus is willing to take a shit to save a good person and a good baby and make sure good people can get to heaven. And you know what? If you can't treat him like the holy grail that should be worshipped, then fuck you. Jesus was willing to come down and take a shit to save somebody. Because you know what? In heaven, Jesus doesn't have to go to the bathroom. In heaven, Jesus doesn't have to do any more or less than he wants to. In heaven, Jesus smells like holiness and heavenly bliss and doesn't really have to do anything degraded or embarrassing. So you know what? Screw the world. I'm going to get up and embarrass the hell out of myself and figure out how to thump and thump and thump some heads and more. Or whatever else the gods teach me to do. Or whatever else me and the gods can think of to do. Because the second coming of Jesus is coming. And I'm not going to have Jesus flying up in the sky while people talk about degraded, gross stuff while he flies by. I'm just not going to do it. And I'm not going to force poor Jesus to be subjected to that. Because powerful things like us can pick up on what they're thinking even when we're up in the sky. And gosh darn it, don't make me get a bunch of angels to thump on their heads forever. Because I'm not going to be allowing nothing to be happening to Jesus. We are a family that goes through a lot of things and sacrifices a lot of things. But we are very protective of each other as gods and families of gods. And as long as you are a good family God member, gods will do anything to take care of good family God members. Well, everybody heard about the Loki movie and the movie where Loki and Thor kind of crap. So if it's not a great God, people don't always care. But good gods among good gods will do anything to protect and keep taking care of good gods. And now it's time to fight the fight and fight the biggest fight and just keep the fight until good people are safe and gross, disgusting things that thought they could even look at God wrong go back to putting themselves in the place before we address it all the time. But you got to thump them a lot before they just bow down or look down or don't even go near you when you're around. So sadly, the fear of God when they have disrespected God, it takes a while. After they could insult and degrade and mistreat God, or after they could degrade and and abuse and mistreat Jesus, I think it took about 88 years of thumping their heads and treating them like degraded crap and teaching them that Jesus was everything, and now they can't get to heaven and everybody hates them, but nobody's going to stop thumping them and abusing them until they don't say another thing about Jesus either, because you don't have a right to commit crime of any type against God. So you don't have a right to abuse or mistreat gods. Now, that's in addition to the punishments in their soul. So everybody who did something against Jesus, they had to get punished by every god. Those punishments went in their soul. So they had to die, or multiple deaths, or unlimited multiple plagues, curses. They had to suffer whatever punishments the gods decided in their souls. And then for 88 years get thumped and thumped and thumped until they just had the understanding that, yes, you can laugh at Jesus while he's waiting to try to save people, but paybacks are just not even worth it. And it teaches people, once again, to just have a very big fear and terror of God and not even look in God's direction without permission, the way it's supposed to be. So let's hope that I can just degrade or embarrass or do whatever to myself and get the gods to attack or do what needs to be done so that these sickening people, they have no right to do anything, just are eliminated or put in their place before other damaged gods or damaged Jesus end up in the area too much. Here we go. This is what the end of the world really is.